welcome to Famously Infamous. I'm your host, Kevin Linke. On today's episode, I want to talk about a situation that's been going on in the East China School District here in St. Clair County. The situation involves a former teacher by the name of Tim Higle. Mr. Higle was a music teacher at St. Clair Middle School and St. Clair High School. Over the summer, I was contacted by some younger former students of his, and they told me about a situation they had going on with him, where while he was employed at the school and after his employment, he was propositioning them for illicit pictures and videos, and he was paying them through Cash App. So after I was contacted by these young women, I put them in contact with Michigan State Police, who ultimately opened an investigation into Mr. Higle. This past, I believe, January, Tim Higle was arrested by the FBI in Illinois, and he is currently being held in a federal holding facility in Illinois, awaiting extradition back here to Michigan to answer some state charges along with federal charges. He has pending federal charges. This situation has been it's been very big in the community. There's been a lot of media coverage on it. There's been a lot of social media coverage on it. And the entire community has been talking about this for a while now. An interesting thing that we've watched transpire throughout the situation is we've watched East China School District Superintendent Suzanne Saibula cover for this and tried to call the victims liars. She's trying to claim that nothing happened to any of these victims at the school and that all of Higle's activities had to do with were done outside of the East China School District. That is simply not true. Croswell-Lexington School District Superintendent Colette Moody is now also covering for Tim Higle due to Ron Miller, who is the former vice principal of St. Clair High School, now is the principal or vice principal at a Croslex school. And a lot of parents have been asking, why is Ron Miller still employed? And so Colette Moody came out and issued a statement saying that Ron Miller had no knowledge of what was going on with Tim Higle. It was never reported to him, and that he didn't have any idea what was going on. That is also simply not true. Numerous students and faculty members have publicly stated and shown up and talked at school board meetings, and they have told the East China School District Board of Education that they reported Tim Higle to Ron Miller, and that Ron Miller knew exactly what was going on with Tim's activities. This is the kind of stuff we keep seeing in this county. Bad things happen to children or to residents, and then the people in charge just lie, and they conceal, and they misrepresent, and all this subterfuge goes on. And instead of protecting the victims that they're responsible for and protecting these children, they just want to protect their own jobs. You'll see this is Suzanne Saibula right here. I call her Boozy Susie. There was an incident with her last June, I believe, at the Marine City High School commencement ceremony, the graduation ceremony. She was slurring her words. She was mispronouncing names. She was a complete train wreck during the commencement ceremony when she had to speak and give her speech. That video has been posted everywhere. She made the school district take it down, then it went back up, then it got taken down again. But yeah, that's Boozy Susie.
Karen Cedar, Board Treasurer, Mike Westrick, Board Trustee, and Ronald Miller, Board Trustee. Thank you to our school board members for the dedication to the East China School District. Woo!
Channel 4 recently highlighted this situation with Tim Higle. Priya Man got involved, and a big shout out to WDIV and to Priya for taking an interest in this. I'll show you guys. Let's see. Let me find Mr. Higle for you. So there is Tim Higle right there. That's Tim. And I started talking about this situation back in, I think this post is from, we talked about this one, I think this is from last October, somewhere around that time. And what we're seeing now is more and more students are speaking up and speaking out and are telling what happened to them, and they are coming with the evidence, and they are coming with all the proof that they need to show what Tim was doing. Tim has a long list of victims. We're not talking 2, 3, 5, 10 young women. We are talking dozens and dozens of victims. He's been doing this for a very long time. I have been contacted by a lot of other people from Tim's past at different organizations he was a part of, from his college days, and everybody has the same story about this guy. He's very predatory, he's very creepy, and he was basically operating out in the open with what he was doing. And, you know, thankfully, these young victims that he took advantage of and that he preyed upon, they had the fortitude and the resilience to not let this go. You know, they were told by every adult that they went to, they were told it wasn't a big deal. Ron Miller, the principal that I talked about, said that this guy, you know, Mr. Higle is just acting as a fatherly figure to these young girls. You know, so a lot of these young victims, and I've talked to quite a few of them, you know, they all felt very defeated and they all felt that nobody was taking them seriously. But like I said, thankfully for them, they stuck with this. They would not let this go, and they finally were able to get in touch with people that took action on this, and ultimately led to Tim Higle being arrested and, you know, charged with, you know, a long list of federal crimes. There's a lot of issues in the East China School District. So this is Ron Miller right here. So Mr. Miller claims that he was never made aware of anything going on with Tim Higle and the students that Mr. Miller was responsible for. This has all been contradicted by the victims themselves. It was very clear that Ron Miller knew what was going on, and Ron Miller was helping to conceal what was going on and helping to hide what was going on. And he was coordinating this, you know, this concealment with Suzanne Saibula. They didn't want the bad press on the school district, and they certainly didn't want it at St. Clair High School and at the middle school. This is this Lisa Higgins was a counselor at the school. She was also made aware of what was going on. She helped to conceal this. Here are some of the messages from Mr. Higle to some of his victims. And you'll see this is a photo of a deleted photo of a current St. Clair High School teacher with a student. He found the photo on Facebook and was wanting the students' names. Here's a screenshot of payments he made to one of his victims. This was a payment to a St. Clair High School student for nude photos. She was freshly 17. Here is another Snapchat message from Tim Higle to a female minor. He says, the female minor says, because dude, you're 30 years old, our old teacher, it's literally illegal. Tim says, no, it's not, I'm having a convo. The young victim says, even still, it's a bit weird. Tim says, why? He says, you're just sensitive. And the young victim says, or do I know right from wrong? And then Higle says, you think I'm wrong? Why did you tell me to add you on Snap? I mean, this guy is just a creep. Yeah, here's another picture of Tim, a bigger picture of Tim right here. He's also, after he ended his employment for the East China School District, he began working at a local hospital in the Metro Detroit area in the children's wing. He was also an umpire. This guy did everything he could to get around children. And I think we're going to find more and more victims are going to be coming out as his court case proceeds and progresses. So this is a statement that the school district issued regarding the situation, and basically they're saying we had no knowledge of any of this. We didn't know this was going on. None of our students were victims. It's all bullshit. Boozy Susie knew what was happening. Ron Miller knew what was happening. Other teachers and faculty members and administration staff knew what was happening. They all tried to hide it. As you can see, I posted a lot about this over the last 7-8 months. Here's a Click on Detroit article that talks about it. See, former Metro Detroit teacher accused of paying students for nude photos, videos. You know, and like I said earlier, MSP was able to get the FBI involved, and between the two agencies, they did a phenomenal job investigating this. They did a phenomenal job getting this man into custody, and thankfully he is now, like I said, going to be looking at a long list of federal and state charges, and hopefully he doesn't get out of prison for a very long time. This is Tim's Facebook page. He won't be on Facebook anymore. I actually had young women from Alabama reach out to me and talk about him, and apparently he was victimizing young girls down in their high school, and it was widely known. So this guy has victims all over the country. This wasn't just in St. Clair County and in East China. Because of social media and because of the reach of Snapchat and Instagram and other social media platforms, he was able to expand, his area of operations to victimize as many young women as he possibly could. This was an email sent to Boozy Susie by one of the victims of Tim Higle, who was a former student in the East China School District. So for the school district to come out and say this had nothing to do with our students, when you had your own students saying, look I was a victim of this guy, it's total bullshit. This is a message I got from the same young victim talking about the MSP detective that was assigned to the case and investigating the case. She says, Sergeant John got back with me today and they got it into Tim's phone and found a shitload of pics and videos of me and multiple other girls. This is very good news to me. I asked her, I said, this is great news. And then I asked her, are they criminal in nature? She said, yes, they certainly are. So this is Boozy Susie at the commencement graduation ceremony last year. If you go on my Through My Eyes page, you can find that video on there, and you tell me what you think. If she was sober or intoxicated or under the influence of something. So we're going to talk about this story more as things progress. But yeah, if you Google his name, it's Tim Higle, Timhigle. You'll be able to find a lot of stuff. If you go onto the Through My Eyes Facebook page, right here, you can find a lot of things on there about it. Type his name in the search bar and you'll be able to see what's going on there. And yeah, we're going to stay on top of this. And we'll release more information, like I said, as the case progresses. And we'll talk to you guys soon.